This is Grow Omaha Uncut, where you can watch our radio show, including what goes on in the commercial breaks. And be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. Well, good morning and welcome to the show. Jeff Beals here at your service. Glad you have joined us. You're not going to find another show in the area that talks about what we discuss, and that is Omaha growth and development, real estate, construction, economic development, really anything related to your favorite city becoming bigger, more vibrant, and more prosperous. Big thank you to our sponsors. Our title sponsors are Cheer Athletics, the nation's #1 all-star cheer gym, along with Dingman's Collision Center, Best of Omaha Award winner, and 4 metro area locations. Without any further ado, it's time to bring on my co-host, a man who is a legendary real estate deal maker, Trenton Magid.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Jeff, you look really good for being enshrined.
Well, you're probably referring to the face on the barroom floor, which was our honor Thursday night. You and I are now the 182nd face on the barroom floor. Tell people what happened.
Well, we're kind of two-faced if you think about it, but that's what they call it. 311, they're all on there together as well. They're like five-faced or something. We were fortunate enough to be nominated and chosen to be on the 22nd floor of the First National Building, not the brand new one, the taller one, but the one that sits by the Doubletree on 16th and Dodge. And what a cool place. If you get a chance, you don't even have to be a member. If you could rent it out and things like that, and you can check out the omahapressclub.com. But we did this in a couple months, and we had about 150-something of our closest friends and people that we forced to be there. And basically, we... for all of our contributions to making Omaha, to growing Omaha, we've had a lot of help doing this show, but we are honored to be on the barroom floor for the next couple months. People walk all over us, and then if we're lucky enough, they put us on the wall periodically, along with a rotation of 181 other famous people.
So we thank the
We're
press.
Omaha famous.
We thank the Press Club for that honor, and whenever you are one of these faces on the barroom floor like Trenton and I are now, you have a roast, and we were roasted by none other than Scott Voorhees from KFAB Radio, as well as Brad Williams. You know him really well. He is a frequent contributor on here, photographer extraordinaire and guest host. And Chris Corey, who is our food and film critic and also owner of Arbor Creative, who does a lot of work with Grow Omaha. Then Gary Saddlemeyer, the legend here at KFAB, was our MC. So great night, and we're going to go straight into our news of the week, which is brought to you by Eagle Mortgage, eaglemortgagecompany.com. They're located in person at 114th and Davenport, just south of Dodge. Whether you visit them online or at the office, either way, they help you get your piece of the American dream. We like saying that because it's a big deal getting a house, moving, buying one, choosing one, figuring out the financing. They take a lot of that pressure away from you because they know so well what they're doing, and they can help work out the best lending solution for you. Eagle Mortgage is not a bank. They shop the banks as a mortgage broker, and so they find the best lending solution. Like we said, give them a call if you're thinking about buying a house. You can find them online once again at eaglemortgagecompany.com. Well, Trenton, we have several news items on the docket this week. The first one is Lauritsen Gardens is going to unveil a new playground called Sophia's Play Garden on May 26th, which is coming up in a couple days. But guess what? This is not just your typical playground. This is a $13 million playground.
Holy moly, what is in a $13 million And do you have to be named Sophia to play on it?
It's actually named after the donor's daughter, the daughter of Paulina and Bob Schlott. And it is 100% donor focused. It's a big deal because they broke ground on this thing in 2022. So pretty much a 3-year build. Meanwhile, the state track meet is underway in Omaha, and there's not much left of it. It's been going on since Wednesday, and it wraps up today. But that brings in 2,600 athletes and their families. And you don't really think of a high school event being a big tourism driver, but believe it or not, the Nebraska State Track Meet is one of the biggest hotel-consuming events of the year in Omaha.
And we used to be down the street on a frontage road at NAI MP Dodge, and we felt it.
Yeah,
at Burke High School,
because there would be people wanting to park in our lot and all that sort of thing. So
I made a lot of cash that week.
Yeah. You thought about it, but I don't think you actually did it.
Sorry, Nate.
Nebraska is the #1 state in the nation for newly retired women. This according to an article in Travel and Leisure magazine, based on a study by Manhattan Mental Health Counseling. This organization ranked all 50 states on many factors, including cost of living, healthcare, life expectancy, crime, climate, and other things. In addition to being #1, or I should say in addition to #1 Nebraska, several other states in this region made the top 10. South Dakota, nearby, #2. Iowa, across the river, #3. Kansas, just to our south, #4. And then Wisconsin, 7. North Dakota, 8. And Wyoming, #9.
Can these women be married or they have to be single?
They're just retired women. It has nothing to do whether they're married or not. Why would you ask that?
Well, I'm just curious if their husbands or
are you
their
looking for someone?
significant others came around. Yeah, I'm looking for a cougar.
So I guess you couldn't pick a better part of the country, because Omaha being right between Nebraska, on the edge of Nebraska, or right between #1 and #3. So that's encouraging to know that things are pretty good here for people that want to retire, especially women. The Omaha Planning Board approved plats for new developments along North 192nd Street. Basically, there is going to be a lot more development activity along North 192nd Street, even though there already has been quite a bit for some time. Specifically, we're looking around 192nd and Fort Street. We've got a 236 single-family lot subdivision named Whispering Oaks. We have another one called McCardle Ridge with 267 subdivisions. And then finally, we've got a mixed-use development coming up to that area called Antler View West. You're still going to see just an explosion of development in that northwest Omaha area that is kind of in that arc between Elkhorn and Bennington.
And if you're on 204th Street, you should see the single-family. I think a lot of it's single family for rent, but there are some huge developments going on now that are just really nice, but separated apartments, if you will.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. And then we finish up with a little bit of news from North Downtown. Crews have framed the 4th floor of the Nova apartments, which are under construction southeast of 12th and Nicholas. That particular area is called Millwork Commons. Nova will be a 5-story building with street-level retail and 74 apartments. It is just a stone's throw to the northeast from Charles Schwab Field. And while floors 2 through 5 will all be apartments, ground-level retail will include a very unique sports bar from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. It'll only be their 2nd location, and the sports bar specializes in and focuses on Louisiana State University athletics. Now, why would you think an LSU sports bar would go there?
Probably because even if they don't make the College World Series, which is not that often that they don't make it, their fans come to the College World Series, and they buy the most shots when there's a contest at Rocco's, is it?
Yeah, Rocco's. I think it's called Rocco's or Rocco's. But anyway, yeah, there's kind of this special connection between Omaha and Louisiana State University. And
what is it called, you know?
I don't have that in front of me, but we did report it in a previous Grow Omaha news brief. So if you just go to growomaha.com and search Louisiana or LSU bar.
They should call it Where You At?
Charles Schwab Field, it'll show up.
In New Orleans, where I lived for 4 years, going to Tulane University, we get along friendly with LSU because it's the state school and we're much higher. No, just kidding. I couldn't get in anymore with my grades. But basically, if you say Where You At in Louisiana, that could be like, how you doing? Where are you? What time is it? They just use it for everything.
Thanks, Trenton. That's a pretty cool Cajun language education session for this morning. And with that, we're going to wrap up our news of the week, which is brought to you by Eagle Mortgage, eaglemortgagecompany.com. Going to take our first break of the hour. And when we come back, we're going to be talking with Dick Mueller. He is the former owner of the Firehouse Dinner Theater. If you've been around a while, you remember the Firehouse Dinner Theater in the Old Market. It was a very special place and a big part of the Omaha cultural scene. We're going to talk about that and a few other ideas that Dick has for strengthening the arts in Omaha and beyond. You're going to enjoy this, so stay with us. You're listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center, along with Cheer Athletics on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
You know, you should probably say
Chris
to
was
Jeff
like,
Beals.
my stuff. Don't forget
If
my
you don't
stuff.
say to Jeff Beals something,
Well,
he'll probably try to
There's a
resell
sponsor
it.
there too.
Put it on Facebook or eBay.
Yeah,
Premium price.
I'm going to put it in segment 3.
Is that your phone dinging?
I didn't
just
have
turned it off.
my normal script.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, yeah.
Sometimes you'll
There's a lot to
get-
cover this morning,
This
too.
thing gets
Yeah,
synced up
yeah.
too. You don't want to.
You
So, are you traveling much or?
No,
was
you
that?
know, my wife
You can
and I,
always
we
save it
both
for next
traveled
week.
for our whole
No, we'll get
lives.
it in segment 3.
Acting? Was she an actress?
She toured for 2.5
No, I'm-
years with Robert Goulet. doing
I just wanted to make
Camelot.
sure.
Oh, wow.
You got it
So,
in
I
if you
mean,
wanted to.
we're
So.
both
yeah,
kind of
we
traveled
definitely do,
out.
yeah.
How old are you now?
Like I say,
I just turned 88.
I didn't
No
have,
way.
I didn't
Yeah, I
have
just
my
turned
normal
88
Are you
couple
healthy?
days
You
ago,
feel
so
good, right?
everything's a little
I
kilter.
feel fine.
Likely story.
Omaha living.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, Omaha's good.
What part of
Good
town?
life.
Yeah.
About a mile from here.
Oh, so
54th and Parker,
okay. Is that north?
1 block south of Blondo.
Okay.
You want this in the back of your chair there?
Oh, yeah.
I have a friend lives at 50th and Izzard.
Yeah. Same. It's a different city out west, but
Yeah.
we live in the old town.
Bring an air tank or something. Come on out.
Where do you live?
168th, basically. South of center, like is it Lake Zarinsky?
Yeah.
88 years old.
I know that actually because he and I had coffee and had a lunch. We talked for a couple hours.
Did we really?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I'm kind of long-winded. Get
No,
me
I-
started.
I
You just
enjoy-
ask the questions, and I'll.
I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the
Did you?
conversation.
Good.
Yeah, we expanded
That's
the
fun.
show up to 2 hours just in case.
For this week only.
You're 88.
A couple days ago, May 20th.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, thank
Happy
you.
birthday. You don't look 88 at all.
You don't get surprise birthday parties anymore, do you?
No,
I think
no.
after 80 they should.
No,
do
they,
it.
nobody cares. At this
Nobody
point.
cares. Well, your family does.
Yeah.
Too many candles.
Too many candles.
You have a big family or
I've got a couple kids.
that you know about?
Right. You've done this for a while, haven't you?
I don't think I have kids. Actually.
It's been a while since I've done this. I feel really rusty. You know, I used
You're
to
good.
Oh, yeah, you're fine. I suppose back in the Firehouse days.
Oh,
you
yeah,
did it
well,
all.
Jeff,
on
Jeff may have
nightclubs.
talked, so you want to talk in sound bites, obviously. Is
Shut me off if I.
okay.
I listen to a blog.
I'll just pitch your legs. Is that cool?
Okay. I did a blog for somebody, and I listened to the son of a bitch, and I just wouldn't shut up. So, I said, so you just ask the questions.
Those you on the podcast you can get away with that more because they're
Yeah,
not
but it
they're
was-
not so regulated with time like we are on live radio.
And on live radio during the breaks is okay, but because we have this uncut thing, so everything's recorded, just so you know. And then he edits it, but you know the 7 dirty words that you
Yeah,
can't say on
that's
TV from George
Between
Carlin.
3 cameras.
Those hold.
Those old here.
Rat shit.
You know that-
fat shit.
You watch Gutfeld at all?
Once in a while,
Yeah.
yeah.
He's,
30 seconds.
he really pushes the language.
He's great.
on that
He
show.
does push it.
Oh yeah, he's been doing it so long. I think he owns it.
It's
And,
unbelievable how he's done.
Yeah,
Jesse's pretty good too.
I like both of them. I like them better on the 5 than they do on their
15
own show.
seconds.
And they push too hard on their own show.
Wait, we got a 2-run lead already? Huskers already up 2-0?
Yep.
Or is this a replay?
Are we in contention to go to the big game?
Here we go, boys.
Contention. Yeah. Oh.
All right, work with me, Chris.
I try.
This is about 2 years old.
And welcome back to the show. Jeff Beal sitting next to Trenton Magid. We are brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center along with Cheer Athletics. Ladies and gentlemen, Cheer Athletics is the nation's #1 all-star cheer gym. And there are only 15 of them in the entire world, headquartered in Dallas. They're in other countries, but the most important one is right here in Omaha at Highways 50 and 370 in beautiful Papillion, Nebraska. Great place for your kids and grandkids to get involved. If you're looking for outstanding leadership opportunities for kids, go to Cheer Athletics. You can find them at caomaha.com. Well, for many years, the Old Market was the home to a very special live theater venue. It was called the Firehouse Dinner Theater. And so many times when I was in high school and college, I would go and see some shows there. It was a professional theater and respected throughout the country. And if you're wondering where in the Old Market it was, it's now the Upstream Brewing Company. And we have with us the proprietor and founder of the Firehouse Dinner Theater and also a recent author. His name is Dick Mueller. Dick, welcome to Grow Omaha.
Well, thanks for the invite.
It's good to have you here. And first of all, this book you have came out about a year ago. It's called The Firehouse Memoir. Tell us a little bit about the book.
Well, over the years, I would bore people with my anecdotes about what happened, stories from the firehouse. And nice people, they would humor me, suggesting I should write a book. I could never figure out how to attack it. I hate books, I hate books that are like, we did this, and then we did this, and then we did this. That bores me. But I finally came up with just writing stories about little things that happen. And I was also fascinated by the how one thing leads to another. One, you meet somebody today, and who knows what 20 years down the road, what it becomes.
When did it open?
It opened on May 12th, I believe, 1972.
So 1972. It was right before that. It was the fire. It was actually a firehouse.
Well,
or
it
was
had been
before?
decommissioned. I don't know what year the city decommissioned it. Originally, it was Omaha's Firehouse #1. It was a beautiful building. Unfortunately, they had a fire back in the days, and they took the roof off of it.
Took too long to put it out.
Story was, when I was building the firehouse, old firemen, retired firemen, would stop in every day when we were doing whatever we were doing, and they would tell me stories. And supposedly these firemen one day they were sitting out there on the side, and there are firemen's chairs, enjoying the sunshine, and a little kid walks up and says, "Hey, your place is on fire." Of course, they thought he was joking, and the truth was the hayloft, which was the third floor, because they had horses back then, was burning. And it was a big fire. And
A little embarrassing, but yeah.
Yeah. Actually, the basement, I was told by another fireman that was a place where the zoo at the time kept their alligators during the winter in the in the basement of that building. A lot of stories like that.
Well, and another twist of irony, I mean, it was an old fire station that caught on fire while the firemen were there. You named it the Firehouse Dinner Theater, and then sadly, after you had turned it into the firehouse, you had a fire.
Yeah, we were doing a little show we did called Red Dog, which was probably our biggest hit. That show ran for, combined, probably about a year at the firehouse. 8 shows a week, 52 weeks out of it.
Was that an original show, or is that?
That was the world premiere, yeah.
That you wrote it, or?
I didn't write it. Leland Ball wrote it, and it was a big hit for us, yeah.
But anyway, so what year was the Firehouse Dinner Theater fire?
1975.
So that
we had a great year.
A couple years after it opened.
Yeah, we were doing great. We were putting in stools every night and selling them for full price. And all of a sudden,
so it wasn't a friction fire then.
Somebody,
you know what a friction fire is, don't
is
you?
Is that a successful fire?
Well, I don't know how you could define successful, but a friction fire, the joke is when the mortgage rubs up against the promissory note. So since you're doing so well, I don't think it was a friction fire.
Well, I'm sure the insurance company at first, I was the first one they looked at, but we were doing boffo business.
It slowed you down.
It really did. It shut us down for 3 months. We were the hottest ticket in town.
Literally and figuratively.
Yeah, yeah. And also that year, if you'll remember, we did 2 world premieres at once. Firehouse was doing Red Dog, and we had another show also written by Leland Ball, and we were going to do it at the Playhouse. It was called Battle Hymn. And if you remember, 1975 also was visited by a tornado. And the tornado, pardon?
We were 6 years old, but yeah.
Well, I guess you don't remember.
Tornado and a blizzard.
Yes, it was quite a year. Yeah.
Okay, so you were
so somebody set the Red Dog on fire.
Oh, that was
Yeah,
literally?
somebody sneaked into the building during the middle of the night, and we torched the place, and we were closed for probably over 3 months, putting it back together.
So it was an arson situation?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Wow.
Did you go to the people you didn't cast?
I have no idea, really. I got my suspicions, but I really don't know.
We didn't have video back then as much as we do now.
No.
So we're talking with Dick Mueller, the founder of the Firehouse Dinner Theater, which ran from 1973 to the early 1990s. And, you know, Dick, we talk about how popular it was. And like I say, I remember going to probably 6 or 7 shows at the Firehouse over the years, and they were always full. But you don't see dinner theaters anymore. They were so fun, but you don't see a lot of dinner theaters anymore. What changed?
The world has changed. How many people do you know today who, couples, let's say, because our basic business was couples. How many couples do you know who could even conceive of the notion of showing up in downtown Omaha, walking across the cobblestones in their high heels and their business suits, and spending 4 hours on a Tuesday night, a Wednesday night, 8 times a week we did it. So the world has really changed. I don't know how many people could do that
I
today.
get what you're saying, but at the same time, Omaha is a pretty affluent place. And
Yes, it is.
And compared to 20 years ago when we started the show, 21 years ago, it's unbelievable the number of offerings. We have Steelhouse Omaha. I love to go to the Funny Bone, and they just got a new location. So I think people, and then we also have, when you started that, and obviously price is a lot different, but 25-year-olds at Omaha, they may never have a house, but they spend $15 to $20 on one cocktail. So they seem to spend money. Now, I don't know if they're their target market, but I wouldn't be surprised for a for-profit theater if people wouldn't show up.
Well, we don't have enough time
I know.
to talk about all my theories of the problems that exist out there for theater. I mean, theater's always had its problems. But I think today if I had to pin it on one thing, I think ticket prices have gotten too expensive. Mm-hmm. It's just become an investment. I mean, yes, kids will spend $15. They seem to have no concept of the value of $1. But middle-aged people who are the kind of people that we, and older, that was our audience basically, going to the theater today, I mean, you can spend, it's an investment. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, too often, it doesn't pay off. You were going to say.
Would you like to pay credit card, or would you like to finance your tickets tonight, sir? It gets expensive. I do want to bring up and a shout out, because the Denenberg family was very into the theater, and Uni Denenberg.
Was that your aunt?
No, my sister, Tiffany Magid Denenberg, Tippy Magid Denenberg, is married to Steve Denenberg, and then his sister was very involved. Debbie was involved in that, but Eunice and you and Ozzie Nog, who's still going strong, and one other person were in a
Louise Filbert.
What do you call that? A quartet, or what do you call that?
It was, yeah, three gals and myself.
And what was it called?
The Foregone Conclusions.
Good name.
How long did that?
I think Uni and Ozzie came up. They were very clever people, and I think they were responsible for the name.
That's awesome. Now, my mom, Carolyn Schimmelmag, part of the hotel family with the Blackstone, she actually worked at Gemini for a little while and did graphic design with them. And so it's neat that we need creative people at Omaha, and we have plenty of creative people. Do you see live theater still?
Well, I don't. Pat and I, my wife, we don't go as often as we probably should. But you know what? The last time I was at the Playhouse about a month or so ago, I was shocked. I started at the Playhouse. It's a beautiful theater. It's storied in Omaha. It owns the theater scene. And I had never been in that theater with so few people. I was
sad.
Friday night, the second Friday night of their run of a big main stage show. But we went to see Emmanuel Axe with the symphony a while back, empty seats. We saw Wynton Marsalis with the Lincoln Center Jazz Band at the Holland empty seats. It's just crazy. Those are world-class productions, and in a city the size of Omaha, they should be packed. But I just think the ticket prices have become too much of a consideration for too many people.
Yet we saw Hadestown, the Broadway touring production at the Orpheum, my family and I, a couple months ago, and it was packed to the gills. And those tickets are pricey. So it's almost as if it's a big Broadway show, people say we must go.
But that's what it has to be.
If it's a high quality local,
hit,
they don't.
I think people go when it's kind of a status thing. They've got to see this show.
I would love to see, and hopefully things will cycle in one way or another, but I would love to see something like the Firehouse come back. Whether or not it has a dinner component or not remains to be seen. But just bringing, you ran a lot of mainstream shows that were very accessible local. You would have long runs. A lot of your runs were, 6 weeks or something like that?
We opened another world premiere called Shakespeare and the Indians. Now, there's a title that's going to really bring them in, right? And it ran for 16 weeks.
Wow. That's a long time.
Awful business. It was fantastic, yeah.
Well,
8 shows a week.
8 shows a week.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we can do it and all that. But there's one thing I do want to throw out there. Trenton made a personal note with you there with some of his family members or extended family members. I just want to bring up one thing, Dick, while I've got you on the radio. In 1986, I auditioned for Brighton Beach Memoirs, and to be Eugene. And
we couldn't afford you.
And you were the guy. You were the director, if I remember correctly, weren't you?
Yeah. What a great trio of shows.
If you had to do it all over again, would you cast me today?
I would today. Yes,
okay,
definitely.
Good. Thank you.
Geriatric years.
Actually, that's pretty good. Actually, I went and actually saw that show, and the guy you did cast did a lot better job than I would have.
He was a professional.
He was sort of a ringer.
He was good.
He was touted to me by a dear friend who worked at the theater a lot, and he had done the show in Florida, and he was terrific. And he came up here, and that kid, Ricky Siegel's his name. He's still in California and still acting. But he did all 3 for us. We did all the trilogy, Brighton Beach, Biloxi Blues, and Broadway Bound.
Yep.
And we may have been the only theater that used the same actor in those shows, and he progressed in age perfectly for when we did them. So, I'm sorry that you couldn't have been part of that.
But he did do a great job. And ladies and gentlemen, if you want a very good read, especially if you ever went to a show at the Firehouse in the 70s, 80s, or 90s, you want to pick this up. It's called The Firehouse Memoir by Dick Mueller. Where can people find this book?
Well, it's on Amazon, yeah.
So Amazon's the place.
Yeah.
Just Google The Firehouse Memoir. There's a picture of a young Dick Mueller on the cover from a few years ago. On the front.
A more recent one on the back.
And a more senior Dick Mueller on the back.
That's called Before and After Career in the Theater.
And a lot of pictures within it.
It is a fantastic read for Omaha people who love Omaha history and love the arts. And Dick, we appreciate you writing it. We appreciate you coming on the show. And more importantly, thank you for everything you've done for our city for so long. Arts-wise and every otherwise, you're a great Omahan.
You're very kind. Thank you.
That's Dick Mueller, founder of the Firehouse Dinner Theater and author of the Firehouse Memoir. Going to take our middle of the show break for the news, and when we come back, we're going to have our Noddle Company's commercial real estate development spotlight and several other news items you want to hear. Stay with us. You're listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and Cheer Athletics on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
Have you been in the
sir.
Benson Theater?
No, I walked in one day just to see it, and the guy, the manager, showed me around. It's a lovely space.
Yeah.
Have you been to see something?
I saw some little local thing or something.
I don't know exactly. I think that it's just a house that you can rent or something.
But it was originally a theater. You remember when it was a...
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Was it a movie theater for a while?
Movie theater, yeah. Was it originally a live theater?
I thought it was a vaudeville or something.
Oh, like the Orpheum was.
Yeah. What's the oldest theater you remember as a kid?
The oldest theater? Well, I tell you this, when I lived at the Aquila Court when I got out of the Army, I used to go over and And my neighborhood theater was the Orpheum then.
You had an apartment in
Yeah, it would've
Villa
been.
Court?
Yeah. One of the lofts.
So my dad's family was a South Omaha boy, SOB, South Omaha boy, 20th and Vinton,
Okay.
and so my mother's a Schimmel. That they own the Blackstone. Do you remember going to the coffee shop?
Are you kidding?
So my mom is Carolyn Schimmel Magid.
Where the Reuben sandwich
Yeah, that's my
was-
great grandfather.
Yeah.
Charles, so now have you been to the restaurant there? It's called the
No, I have
Chop
not
House.
been since.
It's called the Committee Chop House, and my great grandfather Charles had 4 boys. My grandfather AQ ran the Cornhusker, lived in the Cornhusker, and ran the Cornhusker for a while, long
Bill,
time.
this is live, right?
Yeah, it's like
Um,
God,
it must
we
be
gave
really
the poker
looks
table
so
that they
cloudy
used
there
way back
compared to
when
what it looks like out the window.
to the new.
But
now
this
they
is
call it the
live. We're up
Cottonwood
3-0.
because
Yeah,
they
the
showed
Orleans.
Okay, so I can say that when we come
And
back.
so,
Okay,
have you been
because I
to the
checked it
Orleans
online and I
room?
Yeah, the
find
Orleans
nothing.
room is still
Yeah,
there.
is it?
They rebuilt the
It just I mean, with the
Cottonwood
cameras, it
room
makes it look
for drinks
worse.
and stuff like that. And then the really
it
good
here?
chop house, and there's a
Huh?
pool table in
Yeah,
there.
that's in
And then
downtown
you remember
Omaha.
the plush horse?
no.
So you'll see the sign I gave him the
3-0.
hand painted
And what
sign
what
for
inning are we in?
Was that in the
horse.
Blackstone too?
And then it
Yeah.
also and then it also had the
Was it top of the set?
golden spur.
Yes.
And we
Remember that.
We gave him a golden spur, but I was also involved with
Yeah.
leasing it
Middle and second.
to California Energy when they turned it into an office building. And my mentor Jim Moore put
Why
me on
didn't
there
they
to
keep
lease
the
it.
name of the Blackstone?
They tried, but after they turned it into Blackstone Center office building, somebody in New York snagged, or in Chicago snagged the name Blackstone Hotel, and they wouldn't let them use it.
Oh, great. That's too bad.
Yeah, but you go in there and check it out. You'll remember some stuff. They did a good job. My mom was the ceremonial first guest.
We used to have a group of us guys would meet in the Cottonwood room every Wednesday afternoon for lunch. And we had this, we got in the habit, they had a phone that you could bring and plug into your
Yeah.
table. And we'd call people all over the country just for the fun of it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So
That would have been a big deal
that's
back
probably
then.
why
a
it
phone
closed. They
at your
couldn't afford
table
your
in those
phone bill.
days.
Yeah.
I don't know how we paid for
So
it. I
that
don't know.
the old elevator there, I knew the engineer because they worked the same company I did that leased and managed it, and it was built in 1916. So if you stop the elevator, those air, whatever elevators, the second and a half floor, there's like a 5-foot space where they put all the booze. So like for prohibition, so they could store all the booze and stuff.
Oh, wow. What a great
Isn't that
story.
kind of cool?
I should get out of here before you guys start again.
Oh yeah, you're perfectly fine. Yeah.
No, this
Yeah.
has been fun. You
Yeah.
guys made it very painless.
Thank you.
Hope
Yeah.
I was helped up my end of the bargain.
Oh, absolutely.
You
Yeah.
did.
It was a pleasure to have you on.
That's
And
one of the most interesting interviews I've heard in this studio in a long time.
yeah, Chris, you would have
Yeah, he's
loved.
been on vacation for 3 years.
You would have loved the
I'm going to sleep at
Firehouse.
the wheel a lot. Yeah.
You would have loved the Firehouse. It was just there was something about the venue.
It was
too.
a classy operation, regardless of
Just
me.
be
It
thinking.
was-
Yeah.
Pardon?
Think about what you're going to do with all the money from the book sales the next 2 weeks.
I'll cut you in.
This thing has shelf life.
You
That's all you
might, you might be able to buy a beer.
Yeah. Hey guys, thank you very much.
Pleasure to meet
Thanks,
you.
Dick. Have
Just
a
go
good
there down the stairs.
Memorial Day weekend.
It'll be open on. I can get out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you,
Thanks.
sir. Appreciate everything.
Bye-bye.
Great guy.
Oh yeah.
The energy. 88 years old.
Like I said, we met for coffee, and we probably talked for 2.5 hours. It was
I hope I'm that spry when I'm 80. If I make it to 88.
I wish we had more time because he has this whole concept for it's a plan about how you could. It's hard to explain in a radio interview about how you could make arts profitable for an entrepreneur. And I really wanted to get into that.
Was it for profit? Was this theater?
Of course, yeah. And it was professional and everything. He was a member of the Actors Equity Union, so actors got paid to be there, and he had a lot of big names that came.
Did he act in a lot of his own stuff?
He did some, but he mostly, in the years that I would go to shows there, he was mostly the director.
You know, back then,
Or a
obviously there's
producer.
a business side of it, but like, people did it because they loved it. And they still do it because they love it, but
Although for a number of years he made a lot of money.
yeah.
Yeah, he did a lot. He was saying when we met for coffee that the last few years he kind of lost a lot of money, but those
When did it close?
93. But most of those years he sounded like he did really well.
So 73 to 93, basically?
A nice 20-year run. But it's just too bad because it was, if you were looking for a real high quality entertainment right there in Omaha that you could get in for a reasonable price, there's nothing like that now.
So because it was a dinner theater, was it all flat with tables? I don't remember.
They were raised. There would be like some raised tiers, and then it was like a 3/4 stage, audience around 3/4 of it.
Was there mezzanine looking down?
But they would fill the thing up. And what was nice about it too is they would run mainstream shows. Like now, a lot of the theaters that do regular live shows, a lot of the shows are just weird, or they're experimental, or they're
Blue Barn,
and
or
they're
they have a
edgy.
political message.
Or they have a political message. And if you're not into that stuff, like I am not into that stuff, I just like mainstream good shows that are great dramas or very funny comedies.
Didn't Hadestown?
I don't want a message.
Did a high school also did Hadestown recently? I think because Rick Russell was promoting it.
It'd be pretty ambitious for a high school.
No, it was a local because I know somebody whose kid was in it.
3-0, bottom of the second.
Bottom of the second.
Yep.
Okay, so we scored 3 runs already, and
Tell Jeff not to forget the first wives part in the roast.
All right, 30 seconds,
Rick
boys.
Russell.
yeah, we're gonna forget that part. We don't have time for any more press club talk.
He already said he forgot it. Period. Old fuddy duddy.
Shoot, we just gave up a run. Damn it.
3-1. Yep. All right, 10 seconds.
No fun. Thanks much fun.
Well, if the
So
ladies
glad
listen
you were
to the show.
there.
Here we go.
Thanks much fun.
And welcome back to the show. Jeff Beal sitting next to Trenton Magid. We are brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center along with Cheer Athletics. Dingman's is that company that constantly wins the Best of Omaha awards because they do such a great job of taking care of your automobile for metro area locations. They're all outstanding. I don't want to jinx anything, but Nebraska is leading Oregon 3-1 right now in the bottom of the second inning, live at Charles Schwab Field in North Downtown Omaha. It had been 3-0, but those rascally little beavers from Eugene, Oregon, scored a run of their own. So hopefully the Huskers can keep the lead. What do I call them?
Russ.
Oh, that's Oregon State. Those rascally little ducks from Eugene, Oregon. Trenton, that was a pretty good sports reference for you.
Yeah, no.
Good job.
Good thing they had jersey that said Ducks on them.
It's a good thing I've got you here. Okay, this afternoon, 1 p.m. at Charles Schwab Field, UCLA versus Iowa, and at 5 p.m. This evening, the winner of the Nebraska-Oregon game, which is hopefully the team in red, not the Ducks or the Beavers, versus Penn State. So if you want to go see some baseball today, you can. It's time for our commercial real estate development spotlight of the week, which is brought to you by Noddle Companies. NoddleCompanies.com. They are the premier real estate development firm in Omaha, doing projects all over the country. Here in town, Noddle Companies is famous for Exarban Village, but also, the Builders District downtown, so many other projects. And Noddle Companies is also famous for building beautiful buildings like headquarters buildings, HDR, Valmont Global Headquarters, both of those in Omaha. Noddle Companies does it all. Well, during this section, we always talk about something happening in or near one of the many Noddle Companies projects. And today we go to Exarban Village, and we are happy to tell you that the exterior signage has been installed for Godega Market. That is a coffee shop and convenience market, which will open its second location very soon in Exarban Village. It is remodeling a space at 1917 South 67th Street. That is the ground floor of the aforementioned HDR Global Headquarters building. The previous tenant there was Zoop, the kind of the soup and sandwich restaurant you may have been to. That closed last year. Godega Market has an original location right at 11th and Howard in the Old Market.
They've got a lot of daytime and nighttime contingencies there from the apartment dwellers, condo dwellers, and then all the workers there. So it's a great place to have a convenience type place.
Yeah, and if you've been to that Godega Market downtown, they have carry out food and beverage
Wine.
stuff, but it's also a great coffee shop. And a lot of people will go there and get coffee. I know I have when I've been walking around the old market. So that'll be a great addition to Exarban Village.
That's almost best example, Jeff, of a true mixed-use development where you have working, you have entertainment, you have restaurants, you have services, and you have residents.
Yep, and that is your Noddle Company's commercial real estate development spotlight of the week. You can learn more about our sponsor at noddlecompanies.com. We have a Grow Omaha Eats restaurant review this week. It is brought to you by All Makes, which is the legendary office furniture and equipment store located near 25th and Farnham, but they also have locations in many other cities across Nebraska and Iowa. All Makes is proud sponsor of Grow Omaha Eats. This week, our writer and reviewer, Chris Corey, reviews Acadian Grill. This is the outstanding Cajun restaurant in Miracle Hills, Trenton, and I believe you know the owner of that restaurant.
Absolutely. Jennifer and Dan O'Brien, they're good friends, but just as importantly is their food is awesome and very consistent. They've been there a long time. They've won awards, and everything on the menu is great. And I love grits and the shrimp and the Cajun meatloaf. And go check them out. They're on the east side of 114th and Dodge, called the northeast side. And now they serve breakfast. So go to their website and check it out. And they are the nicest people ever.
And if you want to read all about Acadian Grill, you can find Chris Corey's review at growomaha.com. Just click on reviews on the navigation bar. There's a drop-down menu. Then choose Eats, E-A-T-S, and all of Chris Corey's reviews are on there in addition to the most recent one, Acadian Grill. That is your Grow Omaha Eats restaurant review brought to you by All Makes. And finally, for this segment, here is proof positive, in case you needed it, that Omaha continues to expand to the west. Just this week, we had a story on growomaha.com about Hubble Realty Company out of Des Moines, Iowa, which plans to develop the Rye at Harrison, a $20 million apartment and townhome project at 213th and Harrison Street.
Wow.
When you're seeing all of these apartment projects at 213th and Harrison Street, you know there's a lot of westward expansion.
Yeah, if you're living in the old market and you've been down there for a while, pack a lunch, go out and check. Go out to the major corridors and see what's going on because it goes far.
So this Rye on Harrison development will have 286 units. And construction will begin later this year, and project completion is scheduled sometime in 2027. And with that, we're going to take our final break of the hour. And when we come back, we are going to jump right into our Perkins Kreitzer Construction Lightning Round, in which we talk about a lot of retail and restaurant things very fast. And there are a lot of them. So don't miss any of it. You are listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center, Cheer Athletics, and Perkins Kreitzer Construction on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
Does that make sense, that sign? Be positive, lift up, sensitivity wins fans, enthusiasm sells, thoughtfulness separates?
Maybe this goes together, possibly.
Thoughtfulness separates.
It's written like it's
I
written
don't
like
know. And you probably
Separates sounds like
you'll-
not positive.
You'll probably have to separates from other radio stations, separates from the competition.
it's written like a poem. That's why.
Well, at the bottom of it says "Keep in KFAB studio," so somebody must have gotten
Is it a haiku?
I don't know if it's a haiku. It's a
Nobody knows what it
Apparently, it's a message to Jim Rose. Jim, you got to be thoughtful and you got to separate.
I don't know who put that.
And Jim,
there.
be sensitive.
That was
It doesn't
amazing.
sound like something
Because
Scott
Rosie
would do.
sits right here all the time on the morning show.
That part when
Maybe it's
Scott
written Rose.
Voorhees at the roast talked about Jim Rose being up. That was so
That was
funny.
pretty funny. Jim wasn't even there, and he got a little
Once we
roasted.
removed Jim Rose from Gary's,
That was pretty good. Jim gets roasted, and he's not even there.
Hey, if he's not there to defend himself, that's his
Well,
problem.
I invited him. I asked him to be there, and he said he had other obligation. I told him to cancel it, and he didn't. So
to our groupies, if you reach out to us
we're not going to respond.
after we don't respond, there's a bootleg of the show. Not even the professional, not I shouldn't say professional, not even the official videographer, but equally as impressive.
You're talking
Chris
about-
Corey
Chris
had a
doesn't-
static camera, and we already have the video of the entire roast, about an hour and 15 minutes. So
Chris,
if you reach out to
you
me,
don't do
groupies,
bootlegs.
30 seconds.
since you're listening to this right now,
You're professional.
painfully listening to this,
You'll have
I
about
might
6
send you that link, and you can watch the whole
Yeah,
roast of
professionals don't
the
do bootlegs.
privacy of your own
Or
home,
do they?
as long as you don't repost it. Thank you.
All right. 10 seconds, boys.
Bill Dixon really dresses up nicely.
Here we go.
And welcome back to the show. Jeff Beals and Trenton Maggot at your service. It is time for your Perkins Kreitzer Construction Lightning Round, in which we talk about a lot of things really fast. And we want to thank Perkins Kreitzer Construction for making this possible. That organization is very, very aptly and professionally run by Dave Kreitzer, our good friend Dave. And he and his team do an outstanding job of delivering high-quality projects on time, on budget, and they are so easy to work with. You know, the companies that are having these projects built, the principals that are investing in these projects feel so much better when they have Perkins Kreitzer Construction on their team. Doesn't matter if you're just going to build out the interior of an existing building or if you're going to construct from the ground up an office building, a retail center, a church, what have you. They can do it all. Perkins Kreitzer Construction serves the metro area, plus all of eastern Nebraska and western Iowa. You can find them online at p-cconstruction.com. Well, Terra Gaucha Brazilian Steakhouse plans to open its doors to the public Friday, May 30th. This is in the former Charleston's building near 138th and West Dodge Road. The business is based in Jacksonville, Florida. This will be the 5th Terra Gaucha in the world and the second one in the Midwest. It is in the First National Business Park, and if you haven't driven by, it looks really nice right now.
The old Charlestons.
The old Charleston's has been painted black and white, so it looks quite a bit different. There was also an addition put onto the east side of the building, and so this is a classic Brazilian steakhouse, the kind where, you know, they bring the skewers of meat. I would imagine after being there, you go home and sleep off the meat sweats, but it's going to be really good. And the reviews from people who have enjoyed the other 4 Terra Gaucha locations have all been very,
Don't
very
fill up on the
positive.
salad, even though the salad's really good too.
Your fillers. You got to avoid your fillers.
Tell them to take the soup from the bottom.
Smoke and Barrel Barbecue has signed a lease at 2457 South 132nd Street. That's just east of like Fazoli's and Runzer on the west side. This is on the east side. Used to be a Firehouse Subs location. Smoke and Barrel is a local barbecue joint. They are currently located at 135th and Discovery Drive over by the Millard Airport.
That's a good place.
Yeah, I've tried it. It is really good. Speaking of new places going into old restaurant spaces, Tomo Sushi and Ramen has opened at 210 North 114th Street in the former Green Belly space. The restaurant serves traditional Japanese dishes, sushi, sashimi, and ramen. And if you're looking for some of that in West Central Omaha, take a look at the Tomo. Out in Elkhorn, Cedar Creek Coffee and Art has started building out its future space at 20603 Elkhorn Drive. That is on the west side of Old Town Elkhorn. Its opening is scheduled for September. The space is inside a newly constructed 3-story building. Now, this is a specialty coffee shop. It'll be a multi-roaster concept, which means that it carries coffees from roasters all over the country. Another cool thing about this Cedar Creek Coffee and Art, they will have a stage for live jazz, and the whole shop will become an art gallery, and there will be a resident ceramicist who will have a studio, and the ceramic studio will be viewable from the coffee shop, so you can watch a ceramicist ceramicize.
I had a ceramicist remove a ceramic from my back like 3 weeks ago.
Hope it turned out okay. Taqueria 84 Tacos Burritos y Mas has opened. It opened last week at 84th and Q Street. That is the northwest corner and a former cake bakery space. This is from the same owner as Bomb Taco. Now, Taqueria 84 serves 8 varieties of tacos, 9 burritos, quesadillas, beverages. Nice little street taco shop that looks like a pretty fun little place to pop in and grab a snack, maybe even a lunch. Signage is up for Unity Seafood at 76th and Cass. The exact address is 7605 Cass Street. This is the former Outback Steak location. It is a Cajun grill and bar and will feature an outdoor area as well. The liquor license filings list previous ownership ties to Grand China Buffet and Hot Pot 88. Looks like it'll be a cool place. I drove by this morning on the way to the studio, although it still kind of looks like an Outback Steakhouse when you drive by.
Yeah, I'll stick with a Cajun grill, thanks.
Reservation. Oh, we already said that. Okay, next thing we have right here is Kincaid Optical Company. This is an independent eyewear and sunglasses store. It's opening next week at 1001 North 13th Street. That is in Millwork Commons. This is in the ground floor southwest corner space of the 5-story Dizzy Mule building. Actually, Dizzy Mule is a complex, so that includes a couple new construction buildings and an historic renovation that are all connected, 172 apartments all together. That's encouraging to see service businesses like eyewear going into
Not just restaurants.
Right. It shows that it's becoming a real neighborhood. And as we said earlier in the show, in that same district, you've got the Nova apartments, which have already reached the 4th floor. And then also in that district, there is a large apartment building called The Frame. It is at 12th and Nicholas Northwest corner.
A big parking garage.
That has already hit the 2nd floor. So a lot of activity there in Millwork Commons. Now, the music is playing, which means that we have to shut it down for a week, but we'll be back next week, so don't you worry. I'm Jeff Beals.
And I'm Trenton Magid.
You've been listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center, Cheer Athletics, and Perkins Kreitzer Construction. We'll chat with you next week at 9, right here on News Radio 1110 KFAB. If you like this video, be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. And remember, Grow Omaha is not just media. This is a mission. We are trying to build up Omaha and make it an even better place. We can only do that with your help. Share this video with your friends, neighbors, and family.